This week on the Student Slant, we talk about building a personal brand and writing for yourself, and talk to student journalist and WC Reviews
WC Reviews.com, yeah, that's right.
and WCReviews.com founder Wyatt Crosher.
So back in my junior year of high school, I took this film lit class like a lot of my students, but everyone else kind of took it as this slacker class. And for me, I always liked movies, but never like enough to really get into it. And then this class in junior year really like struck me. Like everyone else kind of fell asleep during the movies or something like that. Like I loved the movies, specifically like The Godfather and The Prestige were two of the big ones. And from there, senior year, I went to like the school newspaper, and it was called the Devilier, South Brunswick High School. And there, I wanted to be the movie reviewer, the arts and life guy. And I found out very soon that no one read the Devilier. No one. I mean, we passed them out, but no one would look at them. So I wanted to do something on my own. So during senior year of high school, I decided to go off and create my own website. And from there, I've done that for 3 years. My name is Wyatt Crosher.
I'm Jake Ray.
I'm Zach Varda, and this is the Student Slant. So you started in high school, and then you've kept doing it through college and through working with the Lantern. I guess, how do you just balance it? I mean, how much time do you put into to this personal website, and how do you balance that with everything else?
So at first, it was not difficult. At first, like throughout high school, it wasn't a problem at all. High school was like more of my passion than anything else, so it became very easy. But as college came in, freshman year, I was able to do it. As it's gone on, it's gotten harder and harder, but it's also become more of a passion for me as it keeps going. So like I really focus on like going out on the weekends and seeing movies and finding time to review and edit. So it's difficult, but it's something I care about so much that it's almost like another class for me.
So, you said in high school that there was never this like ability to express that your own love of movies through the paper at your high school. So, what would you, I guess, tell someone who was trying to start their own website? How do you go about that?
Well, I basically just Googled how to make a website, like different places. Like I looked at what looked the best for me, and then I found a website builder that seemed really easy at first. So I picked just something that you can just put a blog up, and then from there, like after a year or two, I decided I wanted to go to like a more advanced platform, which is where I went to WordPress. But if anyone who wants to make a website, it's not that hard. You just have to like make the steps to do it, because if it's something you're passionate about, you'll make it like one of your first things you want to do.
So, coming from high school, uh, personally, I wasn't even part of my school newspaper. I wasn't even a journalism major coming into college. So, coming into this major, I had never written an article before in my life. So, what is it like coming in, I guess, having the confidence, being experienced like that, already writing for a platform that you created on your own, to come in and then write for, I guess, Ohio State's paper, the Lantern, and do more of hard news?
Yeah, it helps to an extent. Like you mentioned, hard news. Like everything I write is obviously opinionated. It's all about movie reviews and stuff like that. So it's a lot different than when I write for the Lantern. But it also did help to write so much on my own. Like I'd probably written like 30 or 40 reviews at that point coming into college, and just like getting different things coming in, like use different word choices and getting grammatical stuff. Like that came easier, but it's so different writing non-opinionated stuff like news stories and sports stories. It's a much different thing, but it did help writing so many things coming in.
I guess looking on the reverse of that, how have journalism classes, or what you've picked up at your time at Ohio State, helped you in your personal endeavor?
They've definitely helped a lot. Like it is different, but there's so many things that can work in all facets of writing and journalism that, like AP style is just something that I happened to pick up on accident. Even though I hated the Oxford comma and stuff like that, like I just like make note of that while I edit now, and like just writing different things always helps. Like writing all these different types of things is very helpful, and just in writing opinionated pieces and reviews and stuff like that.
So I just realized this. We haven't given you a chance to plug your website yet. So
Yeah,
if you real quick just want to throw out where people can find you on Twitter, on the internet, and whatnot.
I'm kind of ashamed that I didn't put it in my opening statement. WCReviews.com is the website. It's not a big thing. I mean, I'll be modest here. But it's WCReviews.com. On Twitter, it's at reviews_WC because somebody stole the name and doesn't use it, and I'm very upset about it. But yeah, those are the places where I post reviews. I post like separate opinions and trailers on the Twitter, but yeah, there's mostly movie reviews, the occasional album review, occasional TV review, but I don't watch enough TV to really do it. But yeah, WCReviews.com.
Um, Going off of that, I guess, how do you go about for someone that's just starting building out a readership? Like, how do you grow the base or get people to your website, or is that something you even concern yourself with?
It's something I wish I concerned myself with more. Like, I feel like I don't do a good enough job at marketing it. My family's very supportive about it. Like I get a lot of my friends who say they read my reviews all the time. But outside of that, like, I feel like I don't know exactly how to answer because I don't know how to market myself well enough, I suppose. But mostly just word of mouth at this point, and like social media. I follow a decent amount of people on there and trying to get like noticed from there.
You said that you don't know how to market yourself, but your spiel before giving your own pitch, it seemed like you had your own brand. So what is it like, I guess, to have your own brand already as just a journalism student?
I do like to plug my website as often as I can. Like I always say it to my friends and stuff, and it's come like a running joke. But yeah, I don't know how to like move outside of my friends, I guess. I like having my own brand, my own thing. It's always something that comes up in conversation, sometimes even before I say it, which is always cool. But it's always really cool to hear people say, "Oh, I read your review on this, and then I went to see, and I loved it," and stuff like that. I mean, it's really awesome.
And then in what way would you say that setting this up for yourself, it's making you more marketable? So
I hope so.
so did you see it that way when you started it, or were you just doing it for fun and now you see it as, oh, this can boost my resume, this can take me places that I didn't really think about before when I was starting it?
Yeah, it definitely started out as something for fun. It still is something for fun. Like I said earlier, it's something that I've considered one of my like classes. I just make time to do it, but it's always something that I enjoy. It's a fun thing to go out and see a movie. Even if I hate it, I know I can just rant about it and like get that off my chest. It's whenever I write about movies, it's not like, oh, I gotta go write this review. It's always yes, I get to do something I want to do. But oh yeah, I hope it like I definitely would put it on my resume as something that I've done for so long because it's been 4 years at this point. But I didn't. No, I never saw it as something to help in the future. It's something that I wanted to do, and if it grew, that's great. But it's just something that's very fun.
Do you see it that way now?
I mean, I think about it. I think about if it actually could help me. It's a bunch of just. It's weird for me to to think about just something that's a ton of my opinions on stuff as something that actually could help me get a career somewhere because it's just me spewing out whatever I think about a movie. Like that doesn't seem like something that would help, but I hope it does. That'd be awesome.
Have you ever considered, I guess, trying to monetize the endeavor or making the website? Like, you leave college, everybody says, well, I'm going to go apply to work at the Dispatch or whatnot. I mean, you already have your own website. That could be your job when you leave college.
Yeah, if that's possible. I mean, if I need to look into that more. I don't know much about it, like advertising and stuff like that. But I would love to do it if I could. It would be like working the dream, like that cliche saying, "You never work a day in your life," sort of deal. But I'm not sure yet about any of that.
You kind of already touched on this, but I guess as doing reviews, is there ever like a movie you don't want to go see, but you're like, well, it's got a lot of hype, like, so I got to go review it?
All the time. There's a lot of movies. There's movies that just come out, and I know they look terrible, and I know they're probably going to be terrible, and I just know that I have to go sit through it. I'm gonna plug one. The Emoji Movie was one for a long time that I really, really never wanted to see, and then I saw it, and it was just as bad as I thought, but it was just like part of the task. And then there's a lot, but there's some that are just like I have no interest in this. It seems boring, and those are the ones I really don't like because they're just they're like very okay, and that just makes it less fun to write about. But I always end up going to see anything that I think that people care about hearing about.
I mean, so you said that you're only writing these for fun, but you did also just say that you go and see movies that you don't like. So is it starting to become something now that is more of you see as you have like a duty to provide reviews to people, and you are a business instead of just going out and writing reviews for movies that you just happen to see?
I think that's a pretty good point. I never really thought of it that way, but I do feel like for some reason that I have some sort of duty to tell people who actually do read them, like, don't go see this, or this is okay, like it's over, like stuff like that. Like I think that's a fair thing to say, is that at first I wanted to see movies that obviously I wanted to see, and then I'd review them. But now it's become, I go see as much as I possibly can, no matter what I think of it going in, and then I just feel like I have to write about it.
So you said the meh movies are probably the most boring to write because they're just
Mhm.
whatever. Is there any I guess fun or pleasure in writing a review for like an absolute dumpster fire, like for the absolute worst of the worst?
Yeah, it's some sort of sick, like it's some sort of relief off the chest, because I leave some movies absolutely fuming. Like the Emoji Movie, I'll say the new Transformers movie was one I was not happy about, and stuff like that. There's just some that have no excuse being as bad as they are, and they just, and like as I'm writing, I just like I just get in a zone, and those are probably the ones that are fastest out, because I just have so much to say and so much to rant about. So it is fun to like just go after something that I thought was so terrible and so undeservedly bad, but it's not fun to sit through ever. Like as I'm sitting through, I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna rip this apart. Like,
So to tie it back into being a student journalist, how would you say then that writing these reviews for movies that you may not even like helps you to become, I guess, a better writer, and having to describe something that's in colorful language, I guess, about how much you just
mhm.
disliked it?
As a Lantern reporter, I have not yet had to like scathingly write about anyone here, but I feel like writing these brutally negative reviews on occasion might help me do that at some point. Like, obviously, these people that are like Michael Bay, for example, probably don't see what I have to say, but like just writing about them brutally honest would probably help me if I ever had to write something negative about something I have to cover. It would make it easier to like make that jump.
So I guess building on that, when going into class the first day as a freshman or a sophomore, in the first journalism class, already having all those writing skills and your own brand, and we're going in and I guess being taught how to build those things, build your own brand, become a better writer. Did you feel like you were a step ahead, or and did you feel like maybe letting the teacher know that showed that you were already pursuing something bigger than just uh, what we were at the point as student journalists?
I mean, maybe to an extent, I might have been a little bit ahead because I had done this before. I had seen like how to make a website. So like with Nicole's class last year, like I did tell her like stuff like that, and then she ended up using it for an example, and that's kind of cool to see my own website use an example for something in class. But I wasn't like crazy head because it's so opinionated, and it was so just off the cuff. It wasn't meant to be like super structured or super like crazy well grammatically or anything like that. It was just really just what I have to say about stuff, and really like relaxed. But it was easy like seeing stuff about making websites and stuff, because I have learned quite a bit from my experiences. I've learned a lot of how to format and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say I was like crazy far ahead or by any means.
So I think your experience is interesting because I think a lot of people in the back of their minds have, hey, I want to start a podcast, I want to start a website, and then they just never do it. It's always like this idea you talk about with your buddies or whatever, but you went out and you did it. Like, you grabbed life by the horns, to use a cliche. I guess, like, what would you say to people who, like, have this idea lingering in the back of their head, but they never, like, step forward, like, because they're scared people aren't gonna like it. They're scared no one's gonna read it. How do you overcome those fears and just say, you know what, I'm pursuing this project?
I like that you bring that up, because I do know a lot of people who say like I want to do this, or I want to build this platform of some sort, and they might start it, they might never start it, and they just never follow through. My whole goal with this was always, I'm just gonna keep doing this because I like doing it, and I still am, and I still really enjoy it. And there are people who always disagree with what I have to say. There's always people who say, "How do you like that? It was terrible," or "How'd you hate this? You're just a mean critic," or whatever. And I get it, and I just like hearing that people actually care what I have to say. Like, it shouldn't matter if people disagree. That's the whole point of an opinion. So for anyone who wanted to build this platform, whether it be reviews or whatever, just starting a blog, I think it's really helpful one for future things, future writing. It will always help just getting you prepared for whatever you have coming next. And then also just don't care what people say. Like if they care what you say, that means you're doing something right. Like that means your opinion matters to them at least a little bit, even if they disagree. So it's just something that you have to just, like you said, grab life by the horns and just go for it. And I really enjoy doing it.
Relating back to the original question of how do you balance time as a student and being someone who's basically running their own blog, would you tell someone to go for it if they wanted to do it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like obviously it's something that takes some time. It takes some time to get used to, but it's also something that's really fun and it's really rewarding to do all the time. I mean, classes are tough and obviously those should come first, but for me this is something that is almost equally important. It's something that I make sure to put time into, and it's something that always just feels great to put out, and it's always great to see anyone say anything about it, either good or bad. So I definitely think that if you have any sort of time, or if you can make some sort of time, if you have interest, you should definitely make a website.
So, I mean, I agree with that, but how do you think this is going to lead into a career into the future? And as well, how do you think building your own brand and blog and putting yourself out there at such a young age is going to help you in the future with finding a career? Do you want to be a movie reviewer?
I mean, I absolutely do. Whether it be my website getting that successful, or someone finding it and saying, "Hey, I like what you're doing. Come work with me." That's the ultimate goal. Would be a film critic of some sort. Obviously, not a lot of people get to do that, so I'd be incredibly grateful if I ever got that opportunity. But at the least, being able to do these movie reviews and being like something completely different, like an ice hockey reporter for the Lantern, it gets a lot of diversity, and I think that's good. I get to write about a lot of different things and get to like show all the different types of things I can bring to a writing career of any sort. So obviously, movies are my favorite thing in the world. That would be the best thing ever if I can get to do that. But regardless, I think it's helping me show how diverse I can be as a writer.
So you kind of touched on this. You are the beat writer for the hockey team here, which is kind of very different than reviewing movies. And you could have tried to be one of the arts and life reporters. Is that a conscious decision you make to have what you do for the Lantern be very different, so you can have these different, you have your hands in different pots?
I think it was a little bit, because men's hockey was my first choice. That's the one I wanted to get, and I think it's something I've never gotten to write about. And I've played hockey since I was 6, so it's something I also do love. But yeah, since I do movies already, like I was sort of interested in like doing the theater and stuff. It would have been really cool. But doing something so different and unique as men's ice hockey, it's been an awesome experience so far. Because like interviewing the players and the coaches is something I would have never been able to do. And like going to see these games and like watching with such a keen eye, it gives me a different type of skill if I ever did want to move to sports or any other sort. That I'm really glad that I did it. I'm really glad I got to do something completely different than what I'm used to.
Okay, so definitely couldn't have you on this podcast and let you get away without asking you what's been the best movie so far this year. If someone can only go out and see one, what do they go and see and why?
All right, so I'm not going to cop out. I'm going to answer it, but I'm going to say that I do a top 10 list at the end of the year, so I don't want to say my absolute favorite. I'm going to give you 3 that I've given 10s this year.
Plug.
Solid plug. Top 10 list at the end of the year. It's a whole week thing. Go look at it. The 3 movies I've given a 10 this year. The first one was The Big Sick, which was one of the best romantic comedies I've ever seen. It's got so much heart. It's got so much. I think it's on Blu-ray at the moment, so you can see it that way. But like Kumail from Silicon Valley is incredible. It made me cry. I saw it 3 times. That's one. Dunkirk was one of the best theatrical experiences I've ever seen. I don't know if it's in theaters anymore. But just Christopher Nolan just makes a masterpiece with storytelling. Harry Styles is great in it. The Fionn Whitehead, I think is his name. He's incredible. The whole cast. Some of the best cinematography you'll ever see. And then the one that came out last weekend would be the third one, Blade Runner 2049. This movie's not making enough money, so I would absolutely love if it made some sort of comeback. Also, the visuals are incredible. The story is fantastic, up to par with the original, I'd say. Gosling's great. Harrison Ford's great. The direction's great. Definitely go see that if you can.
That was a great conversation. Join us next week for a new topic on the Student Slant.